Okay, good afternoon, guys. So in this video, I'm going to be showing us how to create CBT quiz. So it's very simple, it's easy. All we need to know is, or all we need to have is just the question that you want to set, okay? And don't forget, like we've always said, this software allows you to give quiz and even short questions, so you could mix up your question, okay? Some of them might be quiz, some would be short question, but in this one is just strictly how to create your quiz. And in creating the quiz, you have two options. You either use the question bank, and the question bank is just where you store your questions and pick them maybe randomly whenever you need to give your children questions. So you don't need to go back to your Microsoft Word and start creating your questions. So even at your leisure time, you just sort out questions, add them even if you are not using them currently for your students. So I'm going to teach us the first way. The other way is what we've been using. I'm sure we know how to create quiz, but to demystify some areas that some of us are still having issues understanding, I think this video would explain that. So having said that there are two ways to create our quiz. Either we use the question bank or we create the quiz manually. So let me demonstrate the question bank first, okay? So even without coming here and adding any question for my students, now I think I need to show you the usual way of adding quiz first. What you do when you want to add a quiz, okay, all you need to do is to open your action menu, which is this gear button, okay, and you turn on editing, okay, as usual. You turn on editing. After turning on editing, you now have the option to add your lessons to it, okay, like add an activity or resources. Now whatever you are seeing on my wall, it might be different from yours depending on the course format you choose. So I think I chose a different course format. Some of you, yours might be tiles, yours might be topic format. No problems. All you need to do is, once you click on this gear button and you turn on editing, you should have your page with different editing icon like this pencil things for you to move around, just like that. So with this now, add an activity is here, but if you check on this second section, I only have options to add more section, either above or below, so but there is nowhere to add an activity or resources, meaning I need to open this section or topic. Now I'm editing them individually. So on this first week, which I call Introduction to Sociology, I've added lots of activity and resources, so I can add an activity here, okay? Now if I click on the second section or topic, Theory of Society, I've not added anything here, okay? So this is where I can add. So to demonstrate adding quiz, what I need to do is just to click on add an activity or resources. Don't forget, make sure you've turned on your editing. So the editing is on. I need to just click on add an activity or resources. Now, like we know, we have assignment, attendance, chart. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go straight to quiz. So scroll down. This is the CBT we're talking about. So this quiz will enable you create your multiple choice question, okay? So I'm going to click on quiz and I'm going to click on add. Once I click on add, I'm going to give the quiz a name, okay? Because don't forget that this first phase that I am after clicking on add quiz is the container. It has nothing to do with the quiz questions itself. Don't forget this. Once you click on activity or resources and you click select the quiz, the first page, this page you're seeing here, is not where you are adding the question. This is not where you are adding question. This is where you are giving it an umbrella of where the questions will be. So what this quiz is going to be, okay, I'm calling it mid term midterm test, for instance. Okay, now description, I can say this. Okay, this, don't forget, you can just put anything. Sometimes it's not compulsory to put description, but I can say this is your midterm test. Okay, answer all questions. Okay, do you understand? They might not compulsory on the same line. I can have them on different lines. I can bold this for some of you that want to tweak some things. I can make it medium, no problems. Medium test, fine. I display it on their course page. Yes. Now on the timing, don't forget you need to set all this before the question comes in. Don't forget that. Now what I need to do is to check timing. Now, do you want this quiz to be available on a set date, or it should be available for them? Once the student gets to their dashboard, the quiz is available and they start answering it. So I guess you need to make a time when the quiz will be available. Let's say you are setting the quiz even before the time, and I know the midterm or the test is on the 20th. So what I need to do is to enable this. If you don't enable this, you can't change anything, okay? So I'm going to enable the open quiz, and I set it to be available to be opened on the 20th of May 2020. And time, give the time you want it to be available. So that's when the student will log in to attempt. So any student that logs in before 1:49, the quiz will not be available until when it's 1 on dot 1:49. Okay, now do I want the quiz to close so people don't have option or means to attempt it again? So you are giving them time frame. So you also open the close quiz date. So if you are opening it on the 20th, you may also want this quiz to close that same 20th, no problems. But you want it to close, let's say midnight, no problems. You choose your time. Now, do you want there to be a time limit? Yes. The quiz is going to have time. It's not going to be forever. So I'm going to set, you could check this question mark. Okay, if enabled, the time is stated on the initial quiz page. So if you set your time, this time will be shown to the students on the test page, on the quiz page, and a countdown timer is displayed and will start reading. So I'm setting it for 60 minutes. Am I right? Yes, 60 minutes. That should be 1 hour. So if you want it below that, you want it more than that, no problem. So set it. Or you could choose hours, 2 hours, okay, 2 days, okay, 60 days, no problems. So I'm leaving mine for 60 minutes. Now when time expires, what should happen? Now when we students are attempting their quiz, and they don't forget, they need to be conscious of time. So if I'm setting 60 minutes, meaning they have 60 minutes to finish their quiz. Okay, so if their time gets to 1 minute left, 60 seconds left, 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left, once the time expires, what should happen? Even if the student is still on number 40 out of 60 questions, still on number 40, what you're telling the computer to do is any open attempt, as long as this quiz is still open and the attempts are still open, this computer should submit them automatically. Are you with me now? That's the option that is there by default. Or you could say attempts must be submitted before time expires or they are not counted. Do you see what they're saying now? So you must attempt those questions before time expire or they are not counted. So meaning those other parts will not be counted. Only those parts they attempted will be counted. No. Open attempts are submitted automatically. So if you don't attempt the remaining ones, they would not they will be submitted, but it's like you didn't choose any answer, so you'll definitely be wrong. So if you only did 30 out of 60 questions and you got those 30 correct, then you are getting 30 over 60. So that's that. For grade, for the category, maybe later I'll be doing a video on categorization, so leave that. Grade to pass, very important. Some of us, I think it's important we put this grade to pass, though it's a choice. Grade to pass is you are telling the student that out of this 60 mark, any student that gets 30 above, it's a pass mark, they passed. Those that will get 20, it failed. So this grade to pass would mark them. So let's assume I'm putting 40 now, and I'm going to set my maximum to be 60 over 60. So anybody that gets 40 above, from 40 above, will be passed. Anything below 40 will be failed. Do you understand? So when the students are viewing their mark, computer will highlight those that meet the pass mark as green, and those that did not meet the pass mark as red, which might be failed. Okay, so if it's not compulsory, though, if you don't want them to say anything like pass or fail, you can leave it blank. But for some courses that you need your student to know that yes, you pass this course, so there will be a color you know fitting, whereby those students will see that, oh, it is red. They are going to feel bad. Oh, I think this is fail for showing red. And those that will be on green would be pass. Okay, so I will just leave it for sake of those that may not want to put grade to pass. Now, attempt allowed. Do you want these students to attempt this thing as many times as they want? So I think this should not be unlimited. This should just be a single attempt. Okay, you will notice that when it's unlimited, you are having grading method. Now let me explain this, though it's not necessary because you will not be using unlimited. But for those that may want to just set a quiz that won't be graded, or you feel even if it's going to be graded, you just want to test them, you are not going to record anything. So when this unlimited is chosen, this other option called grading method would be highlighted or would appear, because you want the computer to choose. So if a student attempts this quiz twice, the first time the child attempts the quiz, he gets 30 over 60. The second time the child attempts the quiz and got 40 over 60. So if you choose average grade, what the system will do is to add the first 30 that the student got over 60 plus the 40 he got the second time and divide it by the number of time he attempts the quiz. Then that will be the score that the computer will use for the child. Or you say, okay, choose the highest. So the child attempted the first time, got 30, attempted the second time, got 40. The computer will choose the highest, which is 40. Okay. Or you want to say choose the last attempt. If the child attempts the last question before the timing, let's say you gave the child 5 attempts. So the 5th attempt, if the child is not careful, and on the 5th attempt is getting 10, oh, that's the luck of that child. Meaning, even if he had gotten 50 initially when he started attempting, this last one would be a total disgrace, so to speak. So that won't be necessary because I'm not going to be using unlimited. So this is strictly you are setting your midterm text, so it is once and for all. So like I said earlier, your grade to pass might be left. You don't need it, don't worry. Now, layout of the quiz. Every question on one page. You could choose 2 questions on one page, 3 questions on one page. It's your choice. So I'm leaving it 1 question on one page. Okay. So more option on this. Navigation, don't worry, let it be free. So what you need to set here again, question behavior, let it be deferred, because if I take time to be explaining all these other options, I think this video will be very long. So but I'm going to try as much as possible to make it short. Shuffle within question, yes. So by default, this one's on yes. By default, the question behavior is on deferred. Okay, so don't tell them what their score is until they've finished. At the end of everything, once they've clicked submit, that's when they will now review their question and see what the answer is supposed to be. They failed, things like that. So is there more here? Let me check. Okay, no more. So review, leave the review option, don't worry about that long. Appearance, okay, do you want the user's picture to show? Okay, I may decide to show a small image of the student picture. Okay, And don't worry about other options here. Decimal place for their grade, in case you want, by default is on 2 decimal place. Okay, so no problems on that. You don't need that. Extra restriction, are you restricting them? You want them to put password? No. Overall feedback, yes, this is, you need to set this, please. If you miss out any other things, like I've looked at what I've done so far. General, under general you put your description. Under timing, sorry, under timing, under grade, under layout. So please don't be in a hurry just because you please set your question behavior, and all what I'm going through here, please try to go through them. Though I skipped extra restriction, you don't need that. Appearance, I think I put their image. Then the overall feedback. Now, once a child gets 100% total, what should be the feedback? You say, oh, good, good job. You know, you know, like keep it up. Okay, that's the feedback. By default, they've given you 100%. Now they also give you 0%, which they are not giving you um feedback option. But for those that would get, if you need another feedback option apart from 100%, all of those that got 50%, so I can decide to put 50%. Okay, what should be their feedback? Um, nice one. You can do better. You can do better. Though this overall feedback is not compulsory, okay, but it would be nice for the children to get something once they click submit, okay, apart from seeing the questions they passed, the one they did not pass, just set the 100% boundary. Perhaps you are okay, or for those that will get 50%, just, I think that's that. Then what else again? Leave common module, leave that. Now common module availability, if you check this, if availability is set to show on course page, the activity or resources is available to the student subject to any restriction. Okay, if availability is set to hide from students, the activity is only available to the users with permissions to view hidden activities. Okay, so when you hide this, they won't see it on their, it will show hidden on the student end, so meaning you don't want them to see it maybe for now. Though it's not compulsory, you may leave it on show in as much or as long as you've set your timing. It's only going to be open. The quiz will only be open. They will see the quiz, but they will not see where to start, because until it gets to on the 20th of May. So that's what it means. So you may not necessarily hide it, okay, on the common module settings. For restrict access, you want to restrict them. I think I've done this before. I told you could set restriction so that a child will only be allowed to open this quiz if he or she has met a criteria. Maybe they've completed all the activities you want them to do. Perhaps there's an activity you want them to have done before this quiz is allowed them. So let's say, okay, I've given them something on revision. Let's say I've given them something on revision, and they did not open that revision at all. I'm just assuming, okay, I don't have revision. So if a child thinks he just want to pass and skips the revision without attempting it, and comes to your quiz and want to attempt it, the computer will not allow the quiz to be open for them until the computer would direct them, would tell them openly, okay, on the quiz page, that they need to complete this. So it's not necessary, since everybody needs to do that quiz on that same day. So you don't, even if they've not done that, I don't think you should set restriction here. Let them get to the date of the CBT and attempt it. So this is just there for you, for teachers on a normal day-to-day basis. You want to test them regularly, and you want them to have met a criteria, so you could use this restrict access. So it's like a dependency. This quiz depends on the previous work. Do you understand? So I'm going to close it. I'm not going to add restriction. Activity completion. Students can manually mark this as completed. I will not recommend this. I always recommend conditions are met. Because if you say they should mark it themselves, to you on the teacher's end, you will be seeing that, oh, this child has completed 100% of his or her activities. Whereas the student just manually, there's a checkbox on the student page. The student will just click on it and it shows that he or she has completed it without even doing the quiz. So I won't recommend leaving it for students to manually tick. So when conditions are met, what condition? When the student must view this activity to complete it. Okay, students also required to receive a grade to complete it. Fine, no problem. So to save my time, this video is getting longer, so leave all this required passing. Okay, so once you are done with this, you click save and return to course. This is the next phase where you will now add your quiz. So this is the container. So just take the pen to create this first page, but where the question comes in now is where we are going to now after this. So everybody that wants to create a CBT must create this container, okay? Must create this container before adding your quiz. So I'm going to click on save and return to course. Okay, saving it and returning to course is bringing me back here. Oh, can you imagine? It's telling me that could not update the quiz. You have specified the close date before the open date. Oh, I think oh, I'm so sorry. Look at it. I'm setting the date before it. So I think I want to set 28 2049. Okay, so that was why it brought me back. Okay, so whenever you click something and it didn't take you to where as expected, know that something is wrong. Another thing I want to draw your attention to, look at this disclaimer here. Something here is telling you there are required fields in this form marked as this. So what are the fields that are required that if I don't put, the computer won't let me go? Things like this, for instance, this one. I think this is the only required stuff here. So take note of those icons. Okay, so now I'm going to click on save and return to course. This should let me go now. Now that I have added my quiz, this is what the student will see. Okay, but I'm not done yet as a teacher. I've not added the quiz. So what I need to do now is to click on this quiz itself to take you to the quiz page. On this quiz page, now look at it, attempt allowed 1 from based on what I just said now. Also, it's telling the student or whoever will be viewing that this quiz will not be available until Wednesday 20th, and the quiz will also close. So they will also see when the quiz will close. So students that won't attempt it before that time, they are sorry. So but look at this question, this thing here, this message, no questions have been added yet. So this is where you now need to click on edit quiz. Okay, now this is where we have been waiting for, adding the quiz. Now don't forget I said earlier that you could add your quiz manually one by one, or you pick them from your question bank. Okay, now the first phase has been completed. The second phase now in adding my question is this button here. Once you click on edit quiz and it brings you to this page, what you need to click on this page is to start adding your quiz one after the other. So I'm going to do is to click on add, and I'm going to use the first option. The second one I'm going to do is for question bank, but let me just use this single manual method to be adding it one after the other. I'm going to just add one question so I don't waste time here. Okay, so this is manual. I'm going to click on add a question. On this page, I'm going to choose the kind of questions I want. Don't forget we have different types of questions for CBT. We have a multiple choice, we have true or false, we have matching. You could read this. It tells you the answers to each question is matched. So you could use matching for those that will need to use matching. You could use short answers, then you could use numerical, essay. I won't be able to explain all this in this video, otherwise it's going to be a long one. But if you need me to do on all these other ones, short question, I would gladly do. So I'm going to strictly use multiple choice here, and I'm going to add. I would have used true or false to save me time here. Okay, so now quickly Under your category, this quiz is going to be under the default for my course name, sociology. Okay. Now, what's the question name? Don't forget, this question name has nothing to do with the student. It's not going to show on the student. This question name is different from question text. This question text is the question itself that I want to add. This question name is the name that the system will use to store this question. So you could give it any name, okay? So here you could give it the same thing as the name of the question, or as the question itself. So let's say what, okay, or what is the meaning of what's the meaning of, okay, just a simple one, please. I don't want to. What's the meaning of GVS? Okay. Now I'm going to copy it, Control C, and I'm going to paste here, Control V. Pasting here, this is the question. If you want to put a question mark, you could do that. Now this is the question. Now, how many marks for this question? It won by default. Now, what's the general feedback? If this child gets it correctly, you can say, wow, general feedback on this question. Okay, for those students that might miss it out, okay, the feedback would be the meaning of GVS is Grenville School. So if a student misses this and clicks on submit, computer will explain to the child that this is actually the correct answer. So one or multiple answers, no, multiple answers not allowed. No, one single answer, only one answer. Though there are some questions that two answers are correct actually, so it's one answer. Shuffle it, yes. Number of choices, you want it capital letter A, it doesn't matter though. The small letter A, B, C will do. Now, what are the choices? Choice 1, Grenville. It doesn't necessarily have to be question 1 will be the correct answer, okay? Grenville School. Grade. Once you give it 100%, that means it is the correct answer. Take note. Once you give any of the choice 100%, that choice is the correct answer. I can put a bravo, Choice 2, get school. Okay, grade. You put it as 0. Go straight. Or use. Okay, you leave it at none. Okay, none. Feedback, you will decide not to put feedback for any failed attempt. Okay, so once you want it to be the correct answer, it's 100%. Once it's not the correct answer, you leave it on none. Okay, it's not the correct answer. Though we will see all these other options, 90%, 97, they are for other things when maybe multiple answers are correct. Okay, so you could set different options for that, but since I'm only using one answer only, so I don't need, it's just 100%, and the remaining options will be none. Okay, then I can say, okay, Grenville, it's also none. That's not the meaning of Grenville. So if you have feedback to put, you put, but it's not necessary. Choice 4, how many choices do you want to give them? Maybe four options, or 4 choices, or 3. I may leave mine at 3 to save time. Then once you're done, combine feedback. This has been set by default, so you don't need to do anything. Multiple tries, leave that, since you are not using multiple tries. So once you're done, you click on save changes and continue editing, meaning you want to add more quiz, or save changes. So I'm going to use the save changes and continue editing. Maybe I feel like adding more questions. Okay, now bringing me back here, maybe I feel there's something. Don't forget, it has, unlike before, this category where I'm going to save it was open, but because I've saved it, this my quiz is being saved in the default sociology category. Though you could create a special categories where your quiz will be coming in. Maybe when we are doing the question bank, I think I'm going to do another video on that, to not to make this video long. So the default has been set. Maybe I feel like changing the name, just look around again, and that's all. So once you're done, you could click on preview, so you see how the quiz would be shown to your student before you click on save changes. So I'm going to click on preview. So preview the quiz and look at the way it's going to show, kind of, though all these ones won't be there. What's the meaning of Grenville School? So let me choose the right answer, Grenville School, and click on submit and finish. Let me see what's going to show them. Oh, bravo, your answer is correct. The meaning of Grenville. So this was the general feedback I gave. So if you don't give general feedback, no problems. But it's just for a student to know. If a student had gotten this wrong now, okay, let me start again and see what happens. So if a student had gotten it wrong now because of this option, you see, your answer is incorrect, highlighting it on red. Now the student will know that, oh, the right answer is actually Grenville School. Do you understand? So once you're done, this is a preview. So I'm going to close this preview page. So once you feel you are okay with the quiz, you can now click on save changes. Do you understand? Save changes. Now you have added one question to the, I call this manual because this is just one. I'm going to click on add again to add question 2, question 3, question 4. Are you with me? Question 5. So now one thing here is, don't forget, each of these questions takes 1 mark. But what's the maximum grade this quiz will take? Is it 10? If this quiz maximum grade is 10 and this child gets this correctly, definitely the child gets 10 over 10. If this child gets it wrong, it's going to be what? 0 over 10. Do you understand? Do you understand? So if I feel this will also be 2 marks, if he gets this 2 correctly, it's going to be 2, it's going to be 10 over 10. Do you understand? So I'm not going to add more questions because the video is getting long. Fine, if I feel the quiz is supposed to be 5 over 5, it's just a quiz, 1 question, I'm going to choose 5 and click on save. So the total marks now will be what? Will be 5. Okay? Total of marks 1. Do you get it now? So that's that. Adding quiz. You don't need to do anything. Your quiz has been added and your students can see the quiz from their end. Okay? So maybe I need to show you the student hand before I end this video, so you see how it looks on your student page. Okay, let me refresh this student page, though this video is very long. I'm going to end this video, please, and I'm going to try and create the second option, which is the question bank. So here I'm going to go to my course page as a student. I'm going to click on sociology, and on the student page I'm going to click on where the quiz is. You see it's telling the student that there is one quiz in this place. For this one, it's telling the student all the activities on this section or on this topic: 5 assignments, 1 forum, 1 chat, 2 quizzes, 1 mind map, 1 feedback, 1 big blue button. But on this second topic now, I've only added 1 quiz. So I'm going to open it as a student and I'm going to click on midterm quiz. Don't forget, this quiz is not currently available. This quiz will not be available until the 20th. So this student would know without asking the teacher, this quiz is not available now. Do you understand? So the student can attempt it whenever it's available. So that's that, guys. Going back to this page, I've been able to teach you how to add quiz manually, one after the other. The bulk of everything was the container, which was the first part, not even the adding quiz. Okay, though this part might be rigorous, adding the question, adding the 3 options or 4 options, we have to do that. But the most important thing is the container, where I added the name of the quiz, the description, other things I added there. So all right, thank you. The next one would be on the question bank. Thank you.